So the story from that point is that Mr. Koko Anyidoho was picked up yesterday during a press briefing being organized to cover some support for the demonstration we've been covering so far. After he was picked up, he walked to the police headquarters where he was kept for a while. His home was searched after that. A lot of supporters thronged that premises, some of them injured in the process. My own colleague Latif Idris was also injured in the process. And what we have this morning is that particular demonstration you're seeing, and also news that Mr. Koko Anyidoho spent the night in BNI custody. Let's now speak to his lawyer, Mr. Adawudu, to get some updates on what's happening with regards to Mr. Koko Anyidoho and he being sent to court. Good morning, Mr. Adawudu. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Bennett.
Great
to
have you. What's the latest now with Mr. Anyidoho?
What I can say is that yesterday, Mr. Koko Anyidoho was handed over to the BNI. For what reasons, I cannot tell as at now. But what I know is that he was handed over to them. So this morning, early morning, by 8 o'clock, I have been to the BNI. And the BNI, you need to fill the form that you want to visit your client. I have filled that form. Up to now, we've not heard anything. We have not heard anything from the BNI. All that they tell us is that they send the document and it's for clearance. So that is what we've been waiting for. But I'm on my way now to the police headquarters.
Okay.
So that I will have engagement with the police and know what is happening.
So
if
have you
I
been
have
allowed
access to my client, then we will know what we can do.
Okay, so from what you're saying, I get the sense that you haven't seen him, but are you aware of his welfare?
Oh, as of yesterday, I can only speak to that. But as of today, I don't know where he was kept, where he slept. I don't know. All I know is that he was handed over to the BNI. So where they are keeping him as of now, I can't tell.
And they are not willing to give you information on that?
They are not, nobody is willing to give me information as of now. If they will give me any information, that's why I'm getting to the police and find out what the information. If they also tell me they don't have any information, then we will know what to do.
And your client is being charged with treason. We've heard from the opposition NDC, which he belongs to. They think that this is, in his own words, I'm referring to the General Secretary of the NDC, says is a storm in a teacup. What do you make of all of this?
If you know the definition of treason and what constitutes treason, you don't need to be learned in the law to know that what they are saying is committed and the offense, what they have to prove. It will be a tall order, and for them to prove that there's treason. Treason, you need to prove that the person connived with other person or a state to levy war against the state, to overthrow all organs of government, to suspend the constitution and parliament or all organs of government. So it is not just any punishment. Treason can also lead you to, that's high treason, and can lead you to suffer punishment, death. And it is not only, even the process alone, it is not only one judge who will sit on the matter. It has to be considered by 3 judges if you are charged with high treason. And it is a tall order that when the charge comes, severity also, because the liberty of the person involved, they have to go through thoroughly. So they know what they have. From our side, we know that we have not done anything, we've not committed any crime. There's any statement reported to have been attributed to my client and made. When they give it to us, we will look at it and we will analyze it. That what we said, does it become a reasonable comment? or treasonable offense. So we will wait for the police and the investigators. Let them do their work, and they will put us before court or anything. They will prove their case. We do not have to prove anything. We do not have to prove anything in court. All we need to do is to create doubt in the mind of the court that what they are saying does not exist. It is not true. That's all we need to do.
You were at police headquarters yesterday, and we had reports, we've seen visuals, some people have been hurt, and we heard from the NDC again, some bigwigs suggesting that Mr. Anyidoho could have just been invited to the police headquarters and he would have come over. Would you mind giving us your reactions also on how the arrest and, you know, the whole process of leading him to his home and later keeping him in the BNI was handled?
Oh, I think that where he was arrested was at a press conference where people have gathered, people who have spoken vehemently and they are opposed to the agreement, the Ghana-U.S. military agreement. So whilst the press conference was going on, that was the time he was arrested. So the people just moved from the press center to the police headquarters. If he was just invited or called and said that we want to invite you to come, let's have some discussion as to comments you've made, I don't think that we would have had all this. But this is a number of people, and that is the beginning of the demonstration and series of things that have been planned against this agreement. So I think it's tripped up sentiment. People wanted to know where it's being sent to. And, you know, dissemination of information could have averted all this if information was given that we are holding him to investigate him for comments he's made. I don't think that people would mass up and come and say that one information will have been given. But when you are keeping the person, no information is going, people become agitated. They want to know what is going. And that's where people think that some sinister or ulterior things could be done. But if you are giving the information, this is the person, he's fine, I don't think people will be agitated as a nation. And it should also take cognizance of the fact that the NDC is vehemently opposed to the agreement, and they were part of the press conference and will be part of the demonstration. So if you find NDC members and other citizens, well-meaning citizens there, it is for a cause. And what is the cause? Oppose the Ghana-U.S. agreement. That is all. So it is not like it's something that the whole party says, yes, but because the party has taken a position, it will support any citizen or any person who is also opposed to that agreement. That we cannot mortgage our future into the hands of the United States of America. It will not be done. And they will speak loudly and eloquently against it. That is all they've.
Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Adawudu. We'll leave you now to go to the police headquarters to get some information on the welfare of Mr. Kokou Anyidoho. We'll get back to you for details. That was lawyer of Kokou Anyidoho. He told us earlier that he visited the BNI headquarters at 8 a.m. and up till now he's not been given any information on his client, and so he's heading to the police headquarters for some information. We'll bring you up to speed. Meanwhile, leading member of the CPP, Kwame Chantua, has not been enthused about the president's seeming silence over the controversial agreement since news of the deal broke. He spoke on PM Express.
Government should stand up, seeing the mayhem is causing, withdraw it for now. Withdraw it for us to have some peace. Because the more it goes on, the more these challenges are going to happen. And it's not good for our country. I don't think Ghanaians are ready for any violence in this country. Right. And, looking across board, a lot of Ghanaians have opposed this agreement. Right. And I think, for me, Parliament didn't do a good job. They didn't do a good job.
With the agreement?
Yes, for anything at all. For anything at all. They should have withdrawn it and reconsidered. What actually I don't understand is that the president is who? He is head and Chief of the Armed Forces.
Right.
This agreement has got to do with the armed forces. Why was he quiet? Why haven't we heard the president say anything?
Perhaps the defense minister has been giving some explanation.
Please, no. No. This has got to do, this is rise right head on the president's lap. He's head of the military. And something like this, he should come and say something to the people who voted him there.
But of course, he's also giving the mandate to the defense minister.
What
so
has
probably
happened?
the defense minister is doing his bit.
What has happened? The defense minister has been talking. What has happened? What are we seeing now? If the president, you see, and it happened in John Mohammed's time. It happened in Mills's time. It happened in Kufuor's time. It happened in Rawlings' time. Why do we cocoon our presidents? Why do we cocoon them? When they come into power, they are there to serve us. They are supposed, when things like this come, we need to hear from the president. He is the head of the country.
Right.
He leads the country.
So you are expecting the president to come out and say something?
I expect him
to at least calm
yes,
tempers.
he is the. You think if the president came and said, "My fellow Ghanaians, yes, A, B, C, D, E is the reason why we've gone into this. I take responsibility of, signing this agreement and going into partnership with the Americans because of X, Y, Z, and cite some examples that can calm the nerves of Ghanaians."
Okay.
To date, we haven't heard the president say anything.
So those were some comments Mr. Janto has shared on PM Express last night.